The program you are about to see is produced by Polish TV in Calgary. The content of the program is the sole responsibility of the producer and in no way represents the views of Shaw Cable Systems.
Telewizji Calgary nie ponosi odpowiedzialności za opinie wyrażone przez osoby występujące w programie Polskiej Telewizji Calgary. Cenimy sobie różnorodność opinii. W 98. wydaniu Polskiej Telewizji Calgary wita Państwa Lesia Kierskiej. Zapraszamy Państwa do spędzenia najbliższej godziny w towarzystwie naszego programu. Życzę miłego odbioru. Zapraszamy. 13 czerwca tego roku w Domu Polski na dużej sali na naszej scenie odbyło się przedstawienie zespołu teatralnego Zielony Dzwon, tym razem przedstawienie dla dzieci pod tytułem Król Ból. Zapraszamy do obejrzenia fragmentów z tego przedstawienia. Przedstawienie poprzedzone było występami muzycznymi, jak również występem naszej bajarki. Zapraszamy, życząc miłego odbioru.
Witam wszystkie dzieci. Bajarzy byli tacy wędrowni, którzy chodzili z jednego miejsca na drugie.
Jest niemiły dla wszystkich, którzy chcą mu pomóc. Jak poradzi sobie dwór z królem i jego widzę. Bo kiedy króla woli dom, to nic go już nie cieszy. Podane piszne dziś posąg i władzy go nie śmieszy. Bo kiedy króla woli dom, wystraszył przed królem, na pasa chodzi cały dwór z królem po.
Nie będę ja! Za co mnie to spotyka? Mnie, twojego kucharza? Zabiję się! Takie rybki, takie grzybki, takie rybki! Nie! Nie będę dziś jadł, bo mnie boli ząb! Oj, ja nieszczęśliwy! Oj, ja biedny! On jest nieszczęśliwy! On jest biedny! Tak się starałam, w kolejce do sklepu stałem, potem gotowałem, przyrządzałem królewskie śniadanie. A ty? Nie chcesz jeść, najliczniejszy panie? Otóż nie!
Jak się masz, mój drogi dzieciolku?
No, jeszcze mi jego brakowało. Witaj, drogi teściulku.
Wiem, wszystko wiem. Kiedy wieść dotarła do mojego królestwa, że jesteś cierpiący, postanowiłem ci pomóc. I w tym właśnie celu przywiozłem ze sobą pana dentystę.
Co?
No, chyba się nie boisz?
Ja nie miałem się bać. Tylko, że wcale mi nie jest potrzebny żaden decyzja. Wspaniale się czuję. Mogę śpiewać, coś mnie gniewa. Nie z nieba, tylko z drzewa. Więc babą tylko zeskoczyłem na wszystkie 4 łapy. Kocie, czy nie mógłbyś mi pomóc? Chciałabym stąd uciec. Miał. Kocie, ale wiesz, że muszę porozmawiać z moim dziadkiem. Jak ja z nim nie porozmawiam, to jutro się rozpocznie wojna. Wojna? Miał. Ja bardzo nie lubię wojny. Kocie, ale ja cię tak bardzo proszę, wymyśl coś. Jestem bardzo mądrym królewskim kotem. Myślę, na razie myślę. Wiem, co wiesz? Przestraszymy ich. Masz, kocie, trzeba ich przestraszyć. Jest zawiązże ci ten szal na głowie. Teraz tą pastę. No, wygląda się tu. Masz jeszcze lampę. No, teraz. Ojeju, otwór!
Co tu się dzieje? Co tu ma się znaczyć? Moi strażnicy zwariowali. A ty? Co ty tu robisz, królewna? Czy ty o tej porze pochodzisz z kotem na spacer? A może uciekłaś z domu, żeby nie odrabiać lekcji i nie wyprawiać swoich obowiązków?
Ale się bardzo lubię swoje obowiązki, a jeszcze bardziej lubię odrabiać lekcje. Szukało cię, dziadku.
Nie szukałeś, królewna?
Cię bardzo poproszę cię, żebyś już się nie gniewał na mojego zastrze i żebyś wrócił do połowu z panem dentystą.
Nigdy.
Ale dziadku!
W żadnym wypadku, dziadku.
Ale dziadku, ja tylko bardzo nie lubię, kiedy się kłócicie, kiedy jest wojna.
No tak, a jak mi król znowu powie do więzienia, to już żadna zwycięska wojna nie pomoże i będę się musiał poważnie obrażać. Nadal wielkim jestem królem, możnowładnym i bohumnym, poważanym, szanowanym, uwielbianym, podziwianym. Co z tego, bo jeśli prawie przypadkiem, do tego wszystkiego jestem dziadkiem.
Nadal wielkim jesteś królem, możnowładnym i w ogóle poważanym, szanowanym, uwielbianym, podziwianym. Do tego, bo jeśli prawie przypadkiem, do tego wszystkiego jesteś dziadkiem.
Nie wystarczy jedno, dziadziu, żebym zmiał i już od razu pół królestwa stoli zachód i siedmówki wórtu chatu dla swej wnuczki mógłbym dać.
Dziadziu!
Dobrze, wrócę razem z panem dentystą do króla wróci. Ale musimy coś zrobić, bo jeśli twój tata król Ból się znowu zdenerwuje, to i żaden dziadku, dziadziu, a nawet dziadziusiu nie pomoże.
Dziadziu, kochany, dziękuję!
Kocie, masz genialny pomysł. Może nie zupełnie nowy, ale za to skuteczny.
All the materials and data offered in this program are for informational and educational purpose only. The nature of this program that you are about to see contains images of the full human body that may not be suitable for children under the age of 14. Viewer discretion is advised. Program, który za chwilę Państwo zobaczycie, zawiera ujęcia, które pokazują kompleksowo ciało ludzkie. Wskazane, aby dzieci, młodzież program ten oglądały w towarzystwie osób dorosłych, rodziców lub opiekunów. Polska Telewizja Calgary-Lesiakierstein. Proszę Państwa, zostaliśmy zaproszeni do World Science Center w Calgary. Hi, Alex Middleton.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for inviting us. Can you tell me what your position is in this exhibit?
Yes, I'm the Media and Communications Manager.
And tell me what is happening here.
This is Body Worlds in the Brain, which is a Canadian premiere, the first time in the country, so Calgary is very lucky to have it. We have 25 full body plastinates, over 200 specimens. Plastination was invented by Dr. Günther von Hagens in Germany in 1977 and has been touring around the world since 1997 and has been seen by over 30 million people worldwide.
Why you are working for them? What was your interest in it?
I had seen the exhibit in London a number of years ago and was fascinated, and I thought it was a great opportunity to deal with a lot of local and international media, and because there's been a lot of interest. And I was personally interested because it's fascinating and educational, and people who come to see the exhibit are very excited, and it's great interacting with the public.
When they came here, was there any particular experience for yourself which was kind of eerie?
I wouldn't say eerie. I mean, it's a different workplace. When I first came, when they were first setting up the exhibit, it was unique. It takes you a little while to get used to. These are human bodies, human body parts, but it's set up in such an artistic, educational way that it's fascinating. And everybody who you see on display here has donated their body. We have 11,000 donors worldwide, so that's what they wanted to do with their bodies when they passed away.
And when you have visitors and people coming, viewing this kind of exhibits, are there different reactions?
We've had 115,000 people come through the exhibit, almost universally positive. It's really rewarding to see young people. Parents are bringing their children from the ages of 5 and up and talking to them about the smoker's lungs and comparing those to healthy lungs and giving people an insight into what unhealthy lifestyle choices do in damaging the body, because we're very fragile. So when people leave the exhibit and I hear their comments and I read their comments in our comment book, it's almost 100% we're going to take care of our bodies more, we're going to think about our bodies more, because sometimes people take their bodies for granted.
Do you have ever person who will come and after seeing exhibit will like to put themselves as a donor?
As I said, we have 11,000 donors worldwide. We've had a few people in Calgary fill out the donor forms. Obviously, it's a big decision, and a lot of them have to talk to their family about it. It's not something that we want them to take lightly. We give them a lot of information. There's a big book to read, and I think that a lot of people realize that by donating their body, they're educating children. They're educating people who might not think about smoking or eating fatty foods. So they think they're doing this for a good cause, and they are.
We have some exhibits which you show us, and you're going to show us more, of course, hopefully, which contain young bodies. So they were healthy, like, you know, some kind of sport activity, or Dr. Van Hagen decided to use, even there were specimens or not healthy, to use and show just particular movements?
Absolutely. The average age of a body that is on display here is 60. Of course, not all of them were athletic in their lifestyle. A lot of them were. It's like a normal segment of the population. Some people are healthy and athletic and eat good food. Some people aren't. So we want to display people that of all different aspects in their life, healthy or unhealthy, because that's what life is.
So with the particular, I'm sorry, I probably confused you with the question. With the particular exhibit with the pregnant woman, young woman,
Yes.
and she unfortunately passed away. Why?
She did. We don't release the information of why people pass away because we protect the privacy
Yes.
of them and their families. But that particular instance, the pregnant woman, when she became pregnant, she went to a doctor, and the doctor said that there is a high chance that she wouldn't live through the pregnancy. She'd been to a Body Worlds exhibit in the months previous and was inspired by what she saw, and when she left the doctor, she almost immediately filled out the donor forms because she thought that it would be a great educational opportunity to show her body. And she was a heavy smoker, and I think that she realized that this is a warning for anybody who is pregnant to not to do this because it can be life-threatening.
For you, Alex, are you have any wishes to see personally Dr. Van Hagen, or you have already done?
I haven't met Dr. Von Hagens. I've met his wife, Dr. Angelina Wally, who is the one of the exhibit directors. She comes to every exhibit and plans out what the exhibit's going to look like. And she's a trained doctor, a trained medical professional. I'd like to talk to Dr. Von Hagens, but he doesn't travel very much outside of Europe because, you know, there are 6 exhibits around the world at any one time. So, of course, he's extremely busy.
And this exhibit in Calgary, when is going to end?
It ends over the Labor Day long weekend, so September 6th.
We will have in future some more, or you're not knowing yet?
We don't know yet. I mean, it all depends on the popularity of this exhibit. It's been extremely popular so far, so I would imagine sometime down the road the exhibit will come again, but it might not be for another 10 years. So if you have the opportunity to come down to the World of Science to see the exhibit, you should do so.
And person who comes and would like some information about it, is possible?
Yeah, there's information on our website, calgaryscience.ca. They can get all information, or you can go to the Body Worlds International website and get any information you might want.
And when you walk around, who will help you to understand what you're seeing?
World of Science has floor leaders that are trained to educate the public about everything they're going to see. So it's a very hands-on experience. We have a number of traveling specimens we call. We have a plastinated brain, plastinated liver, plastinated small intestine, so that people can get that hands-on experience.
So how many of those? You said about 200, yes?
We have 200 specimens exhibited that's on display. We have about 20 traveling specimens that the public can interact with.
With the stampede going on, are there less visitors or more?
We're seeing a lot of out-of-town visitors. Yesterday, on Tuesday of this week, the weather was poorly. It was quite rainy. We had 1,700 people in, which was a great number for us on a Tuesday. So I think that people who are traveling to see the Calgary Stampede and know that this is in town find this is an excellent opportunity that they can't pass up.
How long is open this exhibit? I mean, hourly.
Monday to Wednesday, it's open till 6 o'clock, from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock. The last ticket sold at 4:15. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock.
Are you aware that there was one exhibit in Monachium, I believe, was open 24 hours?
Yeah, towards the end of the exhibit, it's very popular because people wait till the last minute, and a lot of the exhibits are open 24 hours so that the public can get access.
Did you ever get somebody who will start joking around, like, you know, young?
No, you know, I mean, a lot of the school groups that have come down, I think their teachers have done an excellent job of talking to them about how you have to respect this. We've had no problems whatsoever.
Excellent. And no response from any religion person?
Very little response from religious people. We've had all manners of faith and religion down here at the exhibit.
They take this as educational, of course.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what Dr. Von Hagens wanted. He wanted it to be an educational exhibit so people could learn about their bodies, and this is what they get.
Thank you so much, and hopefully we will see you soon in other exhibitions, because as I understand you from public media.
That's correct. I do media work for a lot of different arts and cultural events.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming down.
Alex, in this exponent, what we have here, which is really interesting?
Yeah, this is somebody who had hexadactylism, which means that he was born with 6 fingers and 6 toes. So first and foremost, Body Worlds is an educational exhibit. So for people who come to see Body Worlds, they can learn about things like hexadactylism that they might not have known about before.
With that
here exhibit, person who looks at can count the toes on feet and then can go behind and see the fingers. Why the head is sliced in half? What is presenting here?
Just so that you can have a better look at it. If you go through the exhibit, you can see that they're full body plastinates, where you see the body is intact except for the skin, obviously. But this one just gives you a different viewpoint of the brain and inside of the brain and inside of the skull.
As I know, the fluids, human fluids, are taken out and they are exchanged for?
Yeah, it takes about a year to do a full body plastinate. A large part of that process is removing the fluids and then in replacing them with a silicone-like polymer.
What about acetone?
Acetone they use to keep the bodies in a good condition so that they can display them.
So in this particular exponent we have here mostly bones and muscles. There are no fat, because fat is removed, yes?
Yeah, there is no fat. We remove the fat and the fluids because fat in the fluids is the #1 component in making the bodies rot.
Is there any other place where we can have look at like eyes and tongue, or just body, but that way?
Yeah, actually, eyes are unique because that is the one body part, the one body organ that we can't preserve through plastination. So there is one specimen in the exhibit that has the real eyes. All the other eyes are actually plastic.
And here we have some parts of skin, or the skin is totally taken off?
You have some parts of skin, and then you have what lies under the skin, some of the tissues.
Thank you for this one, and we will move on.
Okay, thank you.
Alex, and this exponent?
Yeah, this is, we call this individual the autopsy man. It's because he was autopsied on live television in Britain. So a very unique specimen.
And what can you tell us about it? Because as you said before, they are very anonymous. The donators, they don't want to know their, like, to be released, what name, what age. But about this one, because of the autopsy done on air on TV, you can tell a little bit more. What is it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we like to respect the privacy of the donors. Every specimen you see in the exhibit is 100% donated. We have 11,000 donors around the world. Vast majority are still alive. But this one, because he was autopsied, and because there's a lot of information with that autopsy, we know quite a bit about him. He was a physical laborer in Germany. He was in his mid-60s. He was quite obese, but when we remove the fat tissue, you can see that underneath, because he was a physical laborer and almost every day of his life he was in physical activity, he was quite muscular. He was also an alcoholic and a heavy smoker. But when you remove all of that tissue, you can see that underneath he was quite the specimen.
By looking at him and not knowing that he was obese and heavy alcoholic and as well smoker, he has actually the perfect body, perfect figure.
That's right, and when people walk by and they look at this one, I think people say some envious remarks. They say, "Oh, this guy was in such great shape." But I guess the old saying is, "Beauty is only skin deep," and when you remove that, you can see what he was like underneath.
Do you know his cause of death?
I don't know his cause of death. I think it probably has something to do with his heavy drinking, but we don't release any of that information.
Thank you. Jest to ciało tego mężczyzny, który był poddany autopsji publicznej, można powiedzieć, która była nagrywana i relacjonowana przez telewizję w Anglii. Dla osób, które przyjdą zwiedzać tą ekspozycję ciała ludzkiego, są obok każdego eksponatu opisy, dokładne opisy, o co chodzi i co tam jest, co się znajduje, co oglądamy, jak zostało zrobione i w którym roku. Alex, with this one, it's totally different. So what you can tell us about this one?
Yeah, well, it's interesting that Dr. von Hagens was an anatomist, and the reason he came up with a plastination technique was that he wanted something that was more useful in anatomy classes for students to learn about. He had no intention of displaying the specimens in the public. It was purely an educational tool. But he was invited to an anatomy exhibit in Japan in 1997, and hundreds of thousands of people visited the exhibit, and they said to him, their one criticism criticism was that when he brought the specimens to Japan was that they were laid flat on a table and there was no real movement to them. So he thought that showing these specimens in natural movements and showing how the muscles worked and how the muscles were flexed would make it a lot more interesting and show people more about how each part of the body is related and how each part of the body moves in synchronicity with each other. So this one is a very athletic pose because, you know, humans aren't sedate and we move around, so it gives people a better idea of what the body looks like in movement. This one is called the skateboarder. This one's quite popular with younger people.
Alex, and this one, as I pointed out, almost like thinking figure of the known sculpture, but a little bit different.
Yeah, Dr. Van Hagens is very inspired by the arts. A lot of the specimens we have are poses that are taken from classical sculptures or paintings. And obviously this one has the same pose as the famous sculpture, The Ponderer. So it just shows that the influence of the arts in Dr. Van Hagens' work runs deep.
And here we have ability to see brain, and with this pinkish lines, what they represent.
Yeah, those are the blood vessels and the nerves. I think that this one showcases the brain because obviously the specimen is called the Ponderer, so it just gives, you know, a better insight into, you know, the human brain and what he's thinking about.
So far we've seen all males. Are there any females?
Yeah, there are some females. There weren't females, very many females originally when it started touring, just because of the sensitivity. But a lot of the comments that we received through people around the world when the exhibit was touring that they wanted to see some females, and we do have a number of females, full bodies, in the exhibit.
And in this particular exhibit, how many exposed human bodies you have?
We have 25 full-body plastinates, and we have over 200 specimens. So 25 that are full-body in poses, and 200 specimens where they be organs. You know, we have some lungs that are damaged by cigarette smoke, some healthy lungs, just showing the difference between various diseases. Again, it's an educational thing. I mean, how often can somebody come down to the museum and say, we see what an organ looks like that has a cancerous tumor, or one that is damaged by smoke, or one that has, you know, gallstones. I mean, it all adds to the educational component of the exhibit.
And this whole idea is taken very, very long, far back, like starting with Leonardo da Vinci, yes?
Absolutely, and that, again, I think that showcases Dr. Van Hagens' love for the arts and how he was inspired.
Thank you. We will move on.
Thank you. The whole idea, the educational component of the exhibit is to show visitors the human body and the interior of the body in every form, and this is a plastinate that it shows the nervous system. It's extremely unique, and it just kind of highlights how incredibly intricate the body is and how delicate the body is, and that every part of the body is connected, and it all stems from the brain.
Thank you. Mózg w czaszce. I tak jak wiele osób porównuje właśnie, że mózg wygląda jak orzech włoski, to tak samo teraz można tak to przyjąć, że rzeczywiście jest wyraźnie oddzielony mózg od przysadki mózgowej. Mózg połączony z rdzeniem kręgowym. Sygnały z mózgu idą poprzez właśnie rdzeń kręgowy i zakończenia nerwowe. Te sygnały są przekazywane w szybkości 400 km na godzinę. Mózg wydaje polecenia i są wydawane sygnały, które komunikują się pomiędzy przeróżnymi częściami naszego organizmu. Tutaj z kolei Państwo widzą mózg i naczynia krwionośne, które dostarczają krew do mózgu. Okazuje się, że mózg stanowi tylko 2% ciężaru całego ciała człowieka, a potrzebuje 20% krwi, którą nasz organizm produkuje, aby prawidłowo funkcjonować. Wystarczy, żeby przez 10 sekund zabrakło dopływu krwi do mózgu, żeby powstały nieodwracalne szkody czy nieodwracalne zmiany. Ten mózg tutaj pokazuje uszkodzenia spowodowane wylewem krwi do mózgu, tak zwanym stroke. Jest to mózg, który miał dłużej niż 10 sekund brak dopływu krwi i takie zostały ślady. Z kolei tutaj widzimy znowu w plastrach, dzięki CT maszynie zrobione, po uszkodzeniu mózgu, kiedy nastąpiło właśnie brak dopływu krwi albo czasami pęknięcie naczyń krwionośnych i rozlanie się krwi pomiędzy komórkami mózgowymi. Czasami po takim uszkodzeniu człowiek zostaje sparaliżowany, czy jeżeli przeżyje, działalność czy funkcje ciała już ulegają zmianie. Pamiętajmy, mózg jest naszym centralnym komputerem. Z mózgu idą wszystkie dyrekcje do naszego organizmu. Jest to pokazany mózg osoby, która była chora na Alzheimer. Także widać wyraźnie zmiany w korze mózgowej. Pokazane naczynia krwionośne głowy. Jest to niesamowite, proszę Państwa. Jest to siatka, po prostu siatka naczynek. Pomyślmy o technice, jaka musiała tu być zastosowana, aby to wydobyć, aby to pokazać, żeby było to właśnie do oglądania, do zobaczenia, jak my jesteśmy zbudowani.
So as I talked about earlier, almost every organ in the body here is plastinated and looks like it would look healthy. One of the only organs we can't plastinate are eyeballs. So the eyeballs you see in the full body plastinates are actually plastic and glass eyes. But this specimen has its actual eye, and as you can see, it's dark and somewhat shriveled up. It almost looks like a grape. So just shows you something a little bit different.
Gives the idea how it looks.
It gives you an idea of what the eye looks like after it deteriorates.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This is a woman who found out she was pregnant, and when she visited her doctor said that there is a very high likelihood that she will not survive the pregnancy. She had recently visited a Body Worlds exhibit in Germany and was moved by what she had seen and immediately filled out donor cards. So unfortunately she did not make it through her pregnancy. And it just shows again the fragility of life. Around the back of this specimen, the back is opened up a little bit, and it shows that she was an extremely heavy smoker. So it just shows again the damages of cigarette smoke and how it can affect somebody, and affect somebody dramatically enough that they pass away.
Do you have lots of young kids coming and see this? I mean students from school and having, special anatomy lesson.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, I mean, it's an educational exhibit, and we've had thousands of students, anywhere from the ages of 10 to 18. Now that it's summer break here in Calgary, we have a lot of younger people coming through, and it's just an opportunity to show them something that they wouldn't be able to see otherwise. I mean, you can see pictures in textbooks, but I think that if you actually see the full body specimens, it certainly has a more powerful impact, and it shows life and death. I mean, life can be sad, life can be great, and people pass away, and it's a fact of life, and I think that it's showcases what people expect, what people expect in life, and again, this is a sad case of a woman passing away while she was pregnant, but it shows the fragility of life, and that you have to be careful, and that you have to look after yourself.
And also we have to remember she was the one who decides to donate herself just because she will feel she should educate, even she's already gone. And also all these exhibits are very respectful.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this particular part of the exhibit is curtained off from the other parts. There is a warning outside this particular part of the exhibit that talks about what they're going to see, so people can choose to come in here or not. And every specimen we have here was donated, so this is what the people wanted.
Teraz mają Państwo okazję zobaczyć płuca zdrowego człowieka, nie palacza, takie jakie powinny być. Te płuca z kolei pokazują, jak wyglądają u palacza, u osób, które palą papierosy, czy fajkę, czy w ogóle tytoń. Tak wyglądają płuca osoby palącej. Te z kolei, proszę Państwa, są to płuca górnika, osoby, która pracowała w kopalni. Także osoby, które palą, powinny zdecydowanie przyjść i obejrzeć, jak powinny płuca wyglądać, a co się z nimi dzieje w momencie, kiedy zaczynamy palić i palimy, jak również jaką cenę płacili czy płacą górnicy, którzy wydobywają węgiel i co się dzieje z ich płucami. Osoby, które przyjdą odwiedzić tą wystawę świata ludzkiego ciała, mają okazję zostawić tutaj ze sobą swój nauk. Jest tu szansa wrzucenia swojej paczki papierosów. Podejrzewam, że nie jedna osoba, która obejrzy eksponaty, które przed chwilą Państwu pokazywaliśmy, zdrowe płuca, płuca palacza i płuca osoby, która pracowała na kopalni, zdecyduje się i zrobi to, co tu jak widać. Kamera teraz pokazuje, że wyrzucone zostały paczki papierosów, czyli można powiedzieć, że dobra kampania antynikotynowa. Alex, and with this one, what we can see here?
Well, this one shows that, again, everything's connected. This guy is swinging. He's in an athletic pose, and how important the spine is, and a healthy spine and a healthy back to be able to perform at the highest level. And also shows the muscles being in a strained position. You know, his right arm is swinging back, holding the bat, and it shows how the muscles work and function.
And I noticed there are difference with coloration with the muscles. Why is that?
Some of it is just individual. Individuals have different muscles. This person might have been a little bit younger when they passed away, but a lot of the red comes from muscles that have been used throughout their lifetime.
And I don't know if you can answer that question, but with that, what we see here, the body are in different movements, but we know once you're dead, you're getting really stiff. So any idea how Dr. Van Hagen get this, that way?
When the fluids are removed through the plastination process, the bodies are positioned in the shape that Dr. Van Hagen's wants. For example, this person leaning back on their right leg, muscles and calf muscles flexed, right arm up, again to show dynamic movement, and then the fluid is injected into the body, the silicone polymer, and then they're shaped like that.
So they make more plastic, like flexible.
Absolutely, and as I said earlier, these take roughly a year to complete, so it's a long process.
How many people work in one body, do you know?
I don't know exactly how many people work, but I know there are hundreds of scientists and doctors and specialists who work at the Plastination Institute in Heidelberg, Germany.
Alex, what about this one?
This one is the orthopedic body. Unfortunately, when people age or they get injured, we have to replace bones and joints with different orthopedics, like there's a hip ball replaced there, there's a knee replaced there. So a lot of people who, when they reach a certain age, have had to have corrective surgeries, and this shows people what those look like. Again, you wouldn't be able to see those if it weren't displayed on this particular specimen. And you can see how unique they look. That a piece of metal is replacing something in your body so that you can function properly and live a normal life.
And in these days, as we know, medicine is really advanced, and some people go to hospital, and in 1 week they are out and they start rehabilitation, and voila, they can walk again or not feel the pain. Basically, that's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the leap forwards in medical technology is fantastic. That that you can replace something as integral to somebody's life and movement like a knee. I mean, the metal detector at the airport might go off, but it's a small price to pay for being mobile.
Exactly. Jest to eksponat pokazujący, jak dzisiejsza medycyna pomaga człowiekowi w momentach schorzeń, czy wymiany pewnych części ciała, wymiany ścięgien, wymiany czy stawów kostnych. Również pokazana jest szczęka. Jest to po złamaniu szczęki, można ją uratować poprzez wkładanie właśnie metalowego i prawdopodobnie tatynium elementu. Tak jak Państwu już nieraz wspominaliśmy, każdy eksponat ma opis obok, z tym, że w języku angielskim. Korzystając z rozwoju obecnej medycyny, człowiek, który ma różne schorzenia, może jednak wrócić do pełnej sprawności przy pomocy właśnie wymiany czy polepszenia części ciała. Na pewno nie jedna z nas, Polaków, osób słyszała o operacji kręgosłupa, ale proszę Państwa, widzieć to i zobaczyć, jak można właśnie otworzyć ciało ludzkie, żeby dostać się do kręgosłupa, robi silne wrażenie. Zobaczymy, jak będziemy się czuli na koniec tej ekspozycji. Alex, what is specific about this one?
Well, this one's not encased in glass, and that's primarily because the way the body is posed is that it has these swing pendulum mechanisms, so it makes it difficult to close in glass. But it also gives the person who visits this exhibit and has a look at this specimen, gives them an up-close look. I mean, it's a lot more of a visceral impact when they're not behind glass. This is the yoga lady. She's posed this way so you can see how different muscles work. Her neck is hyperextended, as they would be in many yoga poses, and that hyperextension allows the visitor to see the trachea and the larynx and the throat muscles.
The mirror under, you can see how she looks from bottom.
Absolutely. There's a mirror underneath so that you can look at the mirror and you can see how the muscles would be working from the back to the buttocks and the back of the legs.
Did you have ever a person coming which does practice yoga?
Yeah, we invited a group of yoga instructors to see the exhibit. I play soccer, and there's a soccer lesson upstairs that interests me because, when do you get the chance to see what your body would look like when you're stretching for a ball? And it's the same with the yoga instructors. I mean, this is a fairly common yoga pose, and to see the muscles and the strain on the muscles is a unique experience, especially for somebody who does this every day. So we have a baseball player. We invited baseball players down, and they're always incredibly interested and excited to see them.
Alex, what about this one here?
Yeah, this is one of the more popular specimens in the exhibit because it's such a unique display of the human body. It is vertical slices of an older man, so you can see the interior of the body from numerous angles. It is one of the few specimens in the exhibit that has the face still preserved, and you can see his facial expression. And you can see everything from his skin to the muscle and the fat and the tissue to the internal organs to the skeletal structure.
Like I said, anatomy lesson.
Anatomy lesson, if you go close enough, you can see that he had some fillings in his mouth.
Człowiek jako maszyna anatomiczna, która jest bardzo, bardzo skomplikowana, a która już nie będzie stanowiła tajemnic dla osób, które przyjdą, to pooglądają i przeznaczą większą część dnia, aby dokładnie wszystko obejrzeć. Proszę Państwa, dr Gunther van Hagens zajmuje się nie tylko ciałem ludzkim, ale również interesują go zwierzęta i też przygotowują eksponaty czy wystawy ciał zwierząt. Tak jak tutaj widzimy, jest to ciało wielbłąda w przekroju, łącznie z wewnętrznymi organami i z małym wielbłądem, który za chwilę Państwo zobaczą, kamera na pewno Państwu pokaże. Co prawda nie znamy historii powstania tego wielbłąda, ile waży, ale dla porównania wiemy, że na przykład, aby przygotować w ten sam sposób ciało żyrafy, zajęło to 10 lat. O tyle lat dłużej niż ciało człowieka, a po wypełnieniu ciała żyrafy acetonem i innymi płynami, które do prezerwacji służą, okazało się, że żyrafa była zupełnie tej samej wagi jak prawdziwa żywa żyrafa i potrzeba było aż 10 mężczyzn do przenoszenia eksponatu. Sierść też jest zachowana. Jak każdy z nas wie, wielbłąd ma garby i mogą być 2 lub 1. Proszę Państwa, okazuje się, że w garbie jest zbiornik, aby przetrwać pustynne życie, czyli woda. I okazuje się, jeżeli już nie ma, jeżeli te zbiorniki zostały wyczerpane, to wtedy te garby właśnie opadają na jedną stronę. Jest to ciekawostka. Również wielbłąd ma żołądek zbudowany z 2 komór. W jednej komorze następuje pierwsze trawienie, a potem następuje to trawienie dokładniejsze w drugiej komorze. Wszystko, jeśli chodzi o wielbłądy, to jest w celu przetrwania, przetrzymania, zachowania na później, na dłużej swoich zapasów, czy to żywności, czyli energii, siły, czy wody.
Kończąc dzisiejsze wydanie Polskiej Telewizji Calgary, przypominamy Państwu, nasze programy nadawane są we wtorki o godzinie 20, w środę o godzinie 12 na kanale 89 Digital Cable. Od czasu do czasu programy Polskiej Telewizji Calgary dołączane są do programu Cultural Scene. I tak, w czwartki o godzinie 24 i nastąpiła pewna zmiana. Kiedyś było w niedzielę, teraz jest w soboty. W sobotę o godzinie 7 rano do godziny 9 na kanale 10. Dla tych, którzy nie zdążą obejrzeć programu Polskiej Telewizji Calgary w telewizji, mamy stronę internetową poloniawcalgary.com i na tej stronie zamieszczane są programy Polskiej Telewizji Calgary. Odsyłamy Państwa do strony poloniawcalgary.com. Również na stronie poloniawcalgary.com zamieszczane są programy Polskiej Telewizji Calgary, tak zwane Special Edition, specjalne wydania. Są to rozbudowane programy z życia polonijnego w Calgary. Nasze kontakty: telefon 403 542 9224, adres elektroniczny polsktv@szak.ca, adres pocztowy Polska Telewizja Calgary, PO Box 35062, RPO Sarcy, Calgary Alberta T3707. Na ten adres proszę przesyłać wszelaką korespekcję.
Redakcja Polskiej Telewizji Calgary nie ponosi odpowiedzialności za opinie wyrażone przez osoby występujące w programie Polskiej Telewizji Calgary. Cenimy sobie różnorodność opinii.